स्वयं उपगतामायं ददान्ति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुन् श्रीयुतापतकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं स्वावधूतं परिजनासाहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपीश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
Thank you, Shashwin, for the wonderful Mangalacharan. While we are waiting for Mataji to join, we can start with the verse for the day, and we'll continue till Mataji joins. Shashwin, you would like to start with the verse?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnana Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nastapradeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloker Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Hare Krishna. Sutta Uvacha Yadda Parikshit Kuru Jangale Vasat Kyalim Pravistam Nijakchakravartite Nisamyavatam Anatipriyam Tata Sarrasanam Samyuga Soundirad Adade. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Shashwin. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Please accept our humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Dandavat pranam, Mataji. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranams. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Mataji, we welcome you to this program. Today we are discussing Canto 1, Chapter 16 and verse number 10. So we hand over to you, Mataji. We have just did the Mangalacharan and then Shashwin just read the verse.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you, Shashwin. Thank you, Prabhuji. Om Ajnanatim Ananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashrata Deshatarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gauravakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiret. Shrunamata Swagata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridayan Pasogi Aputrani Vidunoti Sukratsutam Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhagavati Naishtiki. Hare Krishna. All right, so we will get to today's verse and discuss a few things from there. Before that, we will try to see what has been happening so far, so that we kind of understand the context and then proceed further. Okay, so as you all can understand, in the first 4 verses, what is talked about is Maharaj Parikshit as an ideal ruler. He is punishing how he punishes Kali. So Maharaj Parikshit, he ruled under the guidance of the Brahmanas with great qualities foretold by the expert astrologers at his birth. It was predicted, right, that Parikshit Maharaj was going to have great qualities, and there were so many comparisons that were made to prove the fact that he's going to have all auspicious qualities. And then he married Airavati, the daughter of King Uttara, and begot 4 sons, headed by Maharaj Janamejaya. Then, accepting Kripacharya as his guru, he performed 3 horse sacrifices in which profuse charity was given, and the demigods, they were visible. They were also visible during that time. And chastising Kali, that is the 4th point. That is, the valiant Parikshit once punished Kali, a Sudra dressed as a king, who was hurting the legs of a bull and a cow. Now, the question may be asked, why did Parikshit simply punish Kali but not kill him? So this will be also discussed today. Okay, and then the 6th verse talks about the fact that devotees are accustomed to licking up the honey from the Lord's lotus feet. What is the use of topics that unnecessarily waste one's valuable life? And then 7th and 8th talks about the fact that some people desiring an eternal life escape death by inviting the controller of death, Yamaraj, for hearing Krishna Katha. Yamaraj has been invited for the sacrifice as long as he is present here. No one shall die. Living beings who are under the grip should take advantage by hearing the deathless nectar of Krishna's pastimes. Lazy humans with paltry intelligence and short duration of life pass the night in sleeping and day in useless activities. So obviously, one thing that we should understand is, if we are not utilizing the time for Krishna consciousness, then the time is wasted. Shrama evaki kevalam. Whatever activities we do, if we don't have Krishna in the center, that activity is the waste of labor. And obviously, the living beings should understand the fact that we have to take advantage by hearing the deathless nectar of Krishna's pastimes. This is going to be so soothing even to our ears. And it's directly bhakti, hearing as soon as that Krishna's message, Krishna's glories, because Krishna's glories are not different from Krishna. Krishna's pastimes are not different from Krishna. So it is direct connection to the Krishna. So whatever you hear in the form of Krishna Katha, it has direct connection to Krishna. So it is directly Swarup Siddha Bhakti that we are talking about. So hence, we have to keep hearing. Even sometimes we may not understand certain things, after hearing many classes also, sometimes a point we may not get the understanding of the point. That's not a problem, but keep hearing. As you progress in devotion, as you get devotional maturity over a period of time, you will definitely understand what is the intended message. At that point, oh yeah, I've been having this query for a long time and this got answered now. That would be the message that would come from you. So we have to keep hearing, dear devotees. And then, so the lazy humans, what do? They just waste their time by spending the nights, obviously, in sleeping. And then what do they do in the day? That also is useless activities only. Anything that is not Krishna conscious related, it's all useless labor, and unless we have Krishna in the center. And then Maharaj Parikshit, what did he do? He conquers all directions. Hearing the unpleasant news that Kali had entered his state with the inauspicious effects, Maharaj Parikshit took up his bow and prepared himself to fight. Maharaj Parikshit started on this well-decorated chariot, accompanied by the troops, to conquer in all directions. So this is what is the theme that is going on, and we will discuss a few themes today to understand more so about what else can be learned. Okay, so today's verse, as you all can see, it's verse number 10, and just give me a minute. I'll just open Srila Prabhupada's purport. Okay. So, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, the state administration of Maharaj Parikshit was so perfect that he was sitting in the capital peacefully. But he got the news that the symptoms of the age of Kali had already infiltrated into the jurisdiction of the state, and he did not like this news. So now, Prabhupada then answers the question of what are the symptoms of Kali. They are illicit connection with women, indulgence in meat eating, intoxication, and taking pleasure in gambling. The age of Kali literally means the age of quarrel. And the above mentioned 4 symptoms in the human society are the root causes of all kinds of quarrel. Maharaj Parikshit heard that some of the people of the state had already taken those symptoms, and hence he wanted to take immediate steps against the causes of the unrest. This means at least up to the regime of Parikshit, such symptoms of public life were practically unknown, and as soon as they were slightly detected, he wanted to root them out. The news was not palatable for him, but in a way it was, because Maharaj Parikshit got a chance to fight. There was no need to fight with small states because everyone was peacefully under his subordination, but the Kali Yuga miscreants gave this fighting spirit a chance for exhibition. A perfect Kshatriya is always jubilant as he gets a chance to fight, just as a sportsman is eager when there is a chance to fight in a sporting match. It is no argument that in the age of Kali, such symptoms are predestined. If so, then why was there a preparation for fighting out such symptoms? Such arguments are offered by lazy and unfortunate men. In the rainy season, rain is predestined, and yet people take precautions to protect themselves. Similarly, in the age of Kali, the symptoms of, as above mentioned, are sure to infiltrate into social life, but it's a duty of the state to save the citizens from the association of agents of the age of Kali. Maharaj Parikshit wanted to punish the miscreants, including the symptoms, indulging in the symptoms of Kali, and thus save the innocent citizens who were pure in habit by culture of religion. It is the duty of the king to give such protection, and Maharaj Parikshit was perfectly right when he prepared himself to fight. So let's get into the verse, dear devotees. As you all can understand, what did we see till now is Prabhupada discussing about how the age of quarrel, what we should be careful about, and how Kali infiltrates the society, and how people should be careful, and how the leader is responsible for maintaining peace in the society, and the peace comes when the aspects of Kali are not there in the society. So this is the theme, and we will see more about this now. Okay. Okay. Oh, right. So coming back, we can understand there are quite a few points mentioned. So now Maharaj Parikshit, he sat on a chariot drawn by black horses, and his flag was marked with a chariot of with a sign of a lion, being so decorated, and it was surrounded by charioteers, cavalry, elephants, infantry soldiers, and then he left the capital to conquer in all directions. So Maharaj Parikshit, why I'm saying these descriptions, like chariot is drawn by black horses, his flag is marked with a sign of lion. This is just to distinguish from his grandfather Arjuna, right? For black horses pulled his chariot instead of white horses. In the case of Arjuna, it was white horses that was pulling the chariot. And then his chariot was marked with a flag, and the flag had the mark of a lion. Whose chariot? Parikshit Maharaj's chariot. But if you look at grandfather Arjuna, what was his chariot marked with? His chariot was marked with Hanuman. So the royal procession, like that of Maharaj Parikshit, it was, so you can see, it is surrounded by cavalry, elephants, infantry, band, not only pleasing to the eyes, but it is also a sign of civilization that is aesthetic, even on the fighting front. So Maharaj Parikshit sat on this chariot, which was drawn by black horses. His flag was marked with what? The sign of lion. And it was all decorated. And this, he had whole infantry soldiers that were left behind in order to conquer what? In order to conquer in all directions, he went out. So this is the description of Maharaj Parikshit that we are seeing. And now what is he doing? He's a Digvijay, which means he's conquering in all directions, which is a formality to indicate the king controls everybody, right? So directions means what? East, west, north, south, and everywhere. But as we see in the, or as we see in the verses, it also includes all the Varshas on Jambudweep, not just our Varsha. So he went to other Varshas also, like in Canto 5, if you see Ketumala, Kuru, Kimpurusha, all these are seen in Canto 5. These all belong to the Jambudvipa. So he went to those Varshas. All the other Varshas all over the place, he was going and conquering these places also. Which means he didn't have to fight so much as just to get the acknowledgement from different leaders that they follow him. That's all. He didn't have to fight so much. So this indicated that he was pretty much under the control of the situation, which is the meaning of the king, right? He is pretty much under control. He was in control, which is what a king's function is. He actually gets the obedience of people under him. In the case that someone does not want to be under the king, then obviously he has to fight and prove. If the king wins, then this person has to be obedient to the king. So if somebody doesn't, okay, Parikshit Maharaj is going to conquer, but if somebody is not agreeing for that proposal, then they have to fight with Parikshit Maharaj and win him over. But if Parikshit Maharaj wins, then that person has to be obedient to the king, who is Parikshit Maharaj. So this is the method of determining who is in control of the state. So the king should actually have control over everything very nicely. And everyone should be what? They should all be obedient to him. And in this way, the kingdom is ruled very, very properly. So the kings those days, they were all very highly qualified. And they were coming, obviously, they were all coming from a great lineage. Parikshit Maharaj, of course, he had a great lineage. And they were all empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are called the Vibhutis of the Lord. Why? Because they have special powers to carry out their jobs of ruling the earth. So they are just not ordinary people. They are not ordinary Kshatriyas. They are very, very, special Kshatriyas with the possibility of leading. They know how to lead the earth, lead the country. The whole battle of Kurukshetra, if you were to see, they were fought in order to determine who was the legitimate ruler. Who could be the legitimate ruler? Who could be the actual ruler? Who is the most qualified person to be the ruler? Right? That is why the battle of Kurukshetra was fought. Of course, the arguments about birth is always there. Who was the better birth and whatever like that. Ultimately, of course, it was one who had dharma, right? That is the person who needs to represent the country, who needs to rule the country. So Yudhishthira Maharaj, he represented dharma because he was the son of Dharmaraj, technically speaking, according to the pastimes. And he was supported by Krishna. So then naturally he should become the leader. The war was fought and Yudhishthira Maharaj became the leader along with his brothers. And when they retired, as you can see in the previous chapter, we saw about how the Pandavas retired. Who did they appoint now? They appointed Parikshit Maharaj. So he became the ruler and they supported him. So obviously when it comes to support, they would support only a dharmic person, isn't it? Because Yudhishthira Maharaj, he knows who should he hand over this responsibility to, who's capable of ruling the kingdom. In a way, he has to definitely be satisfied. Yes, this person, he has these qualities. And that is why, Yudhishthira Maharaj was so, even after the birth of Parikshit Maharaj, he was wondering, okay, what are the qualities of Parikshit Maharaj going to be? He got so many predictions. And after hearing those predictions, he became so happy. And in reality, when he saw that, then he became even more happy. And that is why he was confident enough to give this kingdom over to Parikshit Maharaj. So obviously, it was just not only a matter of birth, because he was born to this royal family, then he gets to be a king. But he was also qualified. So that is what these verses are showing us. It was just not king by birth. Of course, that is also good. But, we see he has very, very nice qualities. He has very auspicious qualities. He's actually a very qualified person. He had respect for other leaders and all the people, all the praja, he had respect for them. So naturally, he became the king. He didn't have to force his way into power. No, there was an agreement among people, agreement among all leaders. Everybody agreed to the fact that he was qualified, right? Everybody agreed unanimously. There was no opposition whatsoever. When it was declared, yes, we are going to have Parikshit Maharaj as the ruler. Did people have questions? Did Praja have questions? Did the ministers, did they have questions about his qualification? No. So in a sense, we can see what is Parikshit Maharaj's qualification. So it shows how, so now he's going out to conquer in all directions. So he's having a black horse, his chariot, and there was a lion in the flag. And he was accomplished by the chariots and the elephants and the horses and the cavalry, etc. So it was a very grand procession that appeared on the road. So this emphasizes the fact that he was qualified to discipline everyone in 10 directions, so as to speak. And then we saw previously that he met this person who's disguised as a king. That is Kali I'm talking about, who was not qualified to be a king. What was this Kali doing? He was attacking the bull. So it's rather a different kind of obstacle that he had to meet. Parikshit Maharaj is encountering a different kind of obstacle. This is not a normal scenario where, somebody is not ready to be a subordinate to the king and they want to fight with the king. It is not that kind of scenario, but it's a different kind of scenario where he met a person who's disguised as a king, who was not qualified to be a king. And this person was trying to do what? He was trying to attack the bull. So this was a different obstacle that he has to probably meet. So he didn't have to, as I told you, he didn't have to meet a king who challenged him in fighting, who was ruling another Varsha or something like that. He met this disguised person who was a Sudra, unqualified completely, but dressed up like a king. And he wasn't willing to fight. He was attacking an animal, that too a defenseless animal. And that was a challenge to his kingdom. So we can see this was not a military challenge. It was a dharmic challenge. So of course, it is a symbolic story because it represents the advent of Kali Yuga. Krishna and Balaram and Veda Vyas appeared at the end of Dwapara Yuga. And then after Krishna disappeared, Kali Yuga began to assert its influence. Of course, it began to show its influence. So Kali Yuga means that less qualification is there. Less qualification is there in terms of, obviously, people are more sinful. So it will be difficult, a job for the king to rule, because time itself is against. The time is making more and more adharmic people rise up. As such, it's going to be very difficult for the king to root out this problem, because the time itself is creating this situation, because Krishna's disappearance and Kali has to advent, and this is what is the scenario. And now a ruler like Parikshit Maharaj is having this task to combat this effect. So a hopeless battle, we can say, in one sense, against the tide of Kali Yuga is taking place. Parikshit had an unfortunate circumstance of becoming a king just at the time the Kali Yuga was beginning. So in one sense, it stopped. It cannot be stopped, because it is the will of the Lord that Kali Yuga appears. And we see Parikshit, nevertheless, was determined to not let Kali Yuga enter his kingdom. And he was successful in doing that also. So therefore, he was just not only brave in terms of fighting, he was expert at killing enemies and whatever, but he also had a great sense of what, dear devotees? Dharma. And he was very strict that adharma could not enter into his kingdom. So one can be defeated by the enemies who are militarily very strong. Okay. But other type of defeat is if you are ruling the kingdom, if your kingdom has lot of adharma, then you lost the battle in one sense. So losing could be of two types, right? One is if you're defeated by your enemies who wants to fight against you, who are militarily very, very strong, and you're defeated by them, that is one lose. But the other type of defeat is what? If you're ruling the kingdom and if there is lot of adharma, then also you lost the battle indirectly. Lot of adharma happening in your kingdom, then also you lost the battle. So you're not a real king because you allowed adharma to enter into your kingdom and take over your kingdom. Now what is prevailing? Adharma is prevailing. So Parikshit Maharaj was very strong and very qualified, and therefore he prevented adharma entering into his kingdom. So that adharma was represented by the fact that Kali was attacking the four legs of dharma, which is truthfulness, cleanliness, compassion, and austerity or tapas. All these were getting destroyed by what? By the personification of Kali. And what came up in the place of these things? Okay, these are gone now. I mean, these legs are broken now. So what came up? Because of it, what came up? Illicit sex activities, gambling, meat eating, all sinful activities started to prevail because of that. In other words, adharma means prevalence of sinful activities, which automatically destroy the principles of dharma, which were the legs of the bull. So Parikshit Maharaj prevented that, prevented these things from happening. He was just not simply, he was not interested simply in having military power. Of course, he did have, but he was more so interested in maintaining dharma, which is his duty. More than simply being in power, his duty was mainly, he was very much convinced about the fact that his duty was to maintain the principles of dharma. Right? So that's on the material level of managing things. Managing means not just controlling, but establishing the correct principles by which people should live, which means to minimize their sinful activities. Therefore, all the activities like violence, etc., the sinful activities, they need to be prevented. And Kali Yuga, it represented all sinful activities, and he was able to prevent Kali from entering into his kingdom at that time. Now, dear devotees, you've already seen in this previous verses, right? Why did he not kill Kali? Anybody who wants to answer this question? Why did he not want to kill Kali? Because this was spoken in the previous verses. And since you've all been regularly attending Bhagavatam classes, you must be getting the answer. I'll also reiterate, but I wanted to pose this question to the group. So any of you who knows the answer, they can answer this question. Why did he not kill Kali? What was the reason? If anybody knows, please speak up. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, did not pronounce.
Standard.
Because Kali had surrendered.
Kali had surrendered to. Okay, Kali had surrendered to him.
Kali
Yes.
was,
Yeah.
Kali was the agent of Lord Krishna.
Correct. Wonderful. I think both of you kind of answered the question. So very nice. So
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yes, go ahead, Mataji.
He saw, Parikshit Maharaj saw the small good of Kali, where Hare Krishna Namayava Kevalam, you can achieve greater good.
By the entrance of Kali, you can achieve.
Because he's a great Vaishnava, he saw the one good thing in Kali and spared him.
Okay. So, yes. So I'll just explain you. Thank you, Mataji and Prabhuji. So the point is, I think as Ari Govind Prabhu mentioned, there would be no more Kali Yuga, right? If he kills him, then to the point there would be no more Kali Yuga. So it is said, obviously he just said, because Kali Yuga approached. Kali Yuga approached. I mean, just because I'm sorry, what I'm trying to say is just because this Kali approached this king Parikshit Maharaj and said, don't kill me, I need a place to live. This was the statement that Kali gave to Maharaj Parikshit. And Parikshit, to Prasanatma's Prabhuji's point, so hearing this, what happened was Parikshit Maharaj was so compassionate on him and he did not kill him, but allowed him to live. Again, the second point is, because it's Krishna's will that Kali Yuga has to come. So we cannot stop that from happening, because it's Krishna's will. It has to happen, and hence it cannot be, that has to be given priority. Krishna's will has to be given priority over anything else, to Hari Govind Prabhuji's point. Yes. So it is these two reasons that made Parikshit Maharaj not kill Kali. But he did give a place for him to stay, which was hoarding the gold. And wherever there was a hoarding of gold, then you stay there. This was the instruction that Parikshit Maharaj gave to Kali. So that was his foothold. But as long as Parikshit Maharaj was in power, this Kali could not do anything. So later on, as the kings became more and more, where different kings started ruling, then they were weaker, and Kali Yuga began to exert its influence then. Right? So why did he actually let him live? It is ultimately the will of the Lord that Kali Yuga starts. So it was going to be inevitable anyway. We cannot do anything about it. It is inevitable. In that sense, he could not have killed Kali. So therefore, he allowed him to stay only in certain places. But it was very limited. Later on, the influence grew. Because as long as Parikshit Maharaj was alive, he maintained Dharma. He maintained these principles. The principles are very important. We should, and one important point to remember, dear devotees, is that we should never separate these principles from bhakti, right? It would appear that they are separate. We just have the cow and the bull and dharma and the earth and all this relationship. But Parikshit Maharaj, as you can see, he was previously very much, he was described. What was described? He was a great devotee of the Lord. And the Lord himself rescued him from the womb. And Parikshit was able to see Krishna with his eyes. So as a child, he was thinking of Krishna. He is a very, very good devotee of the Lord. So although this story does not dwell on that aspect of bhakti so much, it's about dharma, earth, but nevertheless, we should understand the fact that Parikshit Maharaj was always a great devotee of the Lord. With this devotion, he was performing these activities. So we cannot separate dharma and devotion. At any point in time, Parikshit Maharaj's devotion to Krishna was never broken. It might look as if he's just focusing on administration and forgetting Krishna at that time when he's conquering conquering in 10 directions. No, not at all. Even while performing his work, he was 100% devoted to Lord Krishna. The principle of devotion is never broken in him. This is the very important principle we all have to remember. Mataji, what you just spoke about dharma, he's conquering all different directions. So he's focused on that activity, isn't it? No, he's always thinking about Krishna, never forgetting Krishna. This is a very important principle. Arjuna, he fought the war. While fighting the war, he never forgot Krishna. How is this possible? This is possible only for pure devotees of the Lord. Multitasking, of course, at least what we can do on our end is, as much as possible, let some names of the Lord enter into our ears. When we are doing some work, something, obviously, if it is not a devotional activity, everything we have to have Krishna in the center. But I'm just saying, in terms of you working, going to office and all that, at certain times, if we are able to, at all times, if you're working from home, it's very advantageous. You can just switch on Srila Prabhupada's tape and hear the names of the Lord, names of Krishna being chanted by Srila Prabhupada. So this way, at least something is entering into our ears all the time. At any point in time, at least till the time we are awake, we should not be disconnected from Krishna. Always try to remember him and never forget him. This is the instruction of all pure devotees, whoever you meet with. What they will write in your book, they will write, please don't forget Krishna. Remember Krishna always. This principle should never be forgotten, dear devotees. We are all aspiring to become a pure devotee. 24/7 at the time, 24/7, if we are able to remember Krishna and never forget Krishna, that is when we become pure devotee. Till that time, we are aspiring. We want to keep on trying. Someday it may work through Krishna's mercy, through Guru Maharaj's mercy. Someday it may work, but we have to keep on endeavoring for it. Some sound vibration should enter into our ears so that we always remember Krishna. Never forget him at all points in time. If we are getting angry, immediately we have to understand, oh yeah, I'm trying to identify myself with the quality of my mind. I have to get out of this anger. Just take surrenderance to Krishna. Krishna doesn't like being anger. So we just have to cool down, just think about it. Something happens, okay, it is Krishna's will. I mean, why do you get angry? Because something went against your will. That is why you get angry. But just go, just take it, tolerate it, and just see the broader picture of what is in store for you. Our goal is very high. Small things should not bother us. Of course, we keep bothering about those things and make it very big, and we blow it up in some cases. But we should not just focus on the higher goal and try to focus on what is in store for us, how I can please Krishna. This should be the motive and intention at all points in time, dear devotees. If something is obstructing to that, then we have to take real precaution, how I can please Krishna and his dear devotees, right? Dear devotees are very, very close to Krishna. So we cannot offend them, we cannot criticize them, we cannot blaspheme them, but be of service to them all the time. How we can do this? This thought has to keep on going in our hearts. How I can please the Vaishnavas, how I can please Guru Maharaj, how I can please Krishna. Only if I please my Guru Maharaj, Vaishnavas around, my Krishna will be happy. So I have to do whatever is necessary in order to fulfill that. My inhibitions are there. I may not get along with the devotee. I may have certain misunderstandings with the devotee. But again, a broader picture is we cannot have. Kali is the age of quarrel. We understand. Yes, Kali Yuga is there and we will be fighting with everyone. We'll not be able to appreciate devotees' good qualities, even if they have. Oh, how can he have good quality? Then we become envy, we become jealous of that person. No, this is the attribute of Kali. Thinking everything, oh yeah, this is just the qualities of Kali, and we have to get over and come beyond this. Go beyond the modes. What is these modes? The modes are the ones which is making you think, yeah, I'm inferior, he's superior, I have to, get over him, become more popular than him. All this is modes, dear devotees. We have to transcend the modes and we have to surrender to our spiritual master, which is the way we can get out of these modes. So let's try for that. Of course, we are all aspiring, and I tell these instructions just so that obviously I get purified and I'm able to be a better devotee in a sense. So anyways, coming back to the story of Parikshit Maharaj, we all know his devotion was never broken, right? So Parikshit Maharaj was qualified to carry out the principles of Dharma, as we can see in this chapter, and he was always a great devotee of the Lord. So behind him, there's also will of Krishna, because of which he was able to maintain the kingdom in a very, very proper way. And now, the people, if you talk about the people, obviously Parikshit Maharaj was doing a great regime, and he was also surrendered devotee of the Lord. So he was instituting Dharma properly. And by doing this, everybody, the population was all protected. At the same time, the sinful activities were getting minimized because they were all following Varnashrama system. So this is why the devotees, they were all staying very, very protected, very, very in a very protected environment. They were where they didn't even know what sinful activities meant, because everybody was a good devotee. See, imagine you are living in a colony where everybody are devotees, everybody you see them with tilak and, saying Hare Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna, then obviously you'd be inspired to be like that, right? I mean, this is just natural because your environment is like that. You are going to have great association, and there is no question of bad association because the adharma is not prevailing. So the point is, if they are not devotees, then obviously the power to rule them will not be there. So obviously, it was important for Parikshit Maharaj to maintain this devotion aspect, because of which he's having a good control over his devotees, because of which he's following dharma and all that. It is all coming from the fact that he's the great devotee of the Lord. And because he's a devotee, Krishna conscious devotee, he's imparting everybody that knowledge of Krishna consciousness. And in this way, he's able to rule. He obviously understands there is adharma, there is dharma, there is sin, not sin. And what is going to make people happy and be in the setup of Varnashrama Dharma is that they have to have Krishna in the center. So this rule was incorporated by Parikshit Maharaj. And then obviously we should also understand the fact that everything is happening. I mean, whatever, if things are getting implemented properly and Varnashrama, the system is in intact position, then people are going to be happy. But if the things are going to be broken, if Varnashrama is broken, and obviously there's not going to be peace, because people are not working according to their inclinations and they don't have Krishna in the center. If that is called, so that is why Bhaktivinoda Thakura, if you look at him, he coined the word Daivi Varnashrama. If you omit Bhakti, then what does it become? It becomes Asuri Varnashrama. It may look very nice because it will have rulers, it will have merchants, it will have laborers, it will have intellectuals, but the goal is not Bhakti there. So it all ends in this material world. It is Asuri. So it is not going to work properly. In the society, if the society has to work properly, it has to be under a ruler who is Krishna conscious, and the people have to follow Devi Varnashrama, where they are having Krishna in the center. So no matter, whatever system we introduce, whether it be royal monarchy or whatever, I mean, it could be democracy where people are going to elect a person. But in either case, we find out that it does not work because there is a large section of people that they don't get anything because they become dissatisfied. So majority of the people are not happy and there is discontentment in the society because Krishna is not in the center. It could be any sort of regime, monarch or democrat or communist, whatever work, it's not going to work because we don't have the right ruler and there is no proper Devi Varnashrama set up in the society, because of which we suffer. So when the system is introduced in a proper way, then at the end, everybody will be satisfied and everybody will be peaceful and they will also support the ruler. There will be no opposition. That's why when Parikshit Maharaj went to conquer in different directions, everybody became a subordinate to him because he was such a nice ruler. There was no opposition at all. So he was able to maintain his kingdom very, very beautifully. So Prabhupada also mentions in the purport that he's different from Arjuna in the sense, now obviously, we understand Arjuna is a great fighter. He's a great warrior. He fought the battle of Kurukshetra. He was the main figure of Krishna. I mean, conversations that were happening between Krishna and Arjuna. He was the main figure in the Bhagavad Gita. So Maharaj Parikshit was not simply following after him. He had black horses. That is why this difference is noted here. He had black horses. So he was actually different from Arjuna. He was not simply blindly following or imitating him. He had his independence, right? Sometimes we have to be independent and show our own personality. So in that way, he had his own qualification. It was not that Parikshit Maharaj was depending on his lineage for qualification or whatsoever. No, by himself, by his independence, he got his own qualification also. So that is why there is this distinction made. Yeah, he has black horses and not white horses like Arjuna, and he had a symbol of lion instead of symbol of Hanuman. So he was qualified in his own right. So the devotees of the Lord, there is just the one quality that manifests. which is the first quality of bhakti is it destroys all kleshas, all sufferings. The second quality of bhakti is that it brings shubhada. It bestows auspiciousness to the person. So the person who does bhakti, he has all wonderful qualities. Then naturally, everyone will become attracted to him. He is also attracted to everyone else. He is merciful, he is compassionate, but all other people are also attracted to this person. So the one quality that manifests naturally with the progress of bhakti is that he becomes, he's going to possess all wonderful qualities and he becomes attractive. So these are not material qualities at all. The devotee develops spiritual qualities. So he develops all of them. We are talking about his spiritual qualities. Who is the most attractive person? The most attractive person is Lord Krishna. He is all attractive. What are his qualities? He has all spiritual qualities. He is attractive because of his spiritual qualities. He has no tinge of material qualities. He is attractive even to Shishupal. Imagine, Shishupal could not stop thinking of him, even though he hated him. So we find in Bhagavatam, there are descriptions of Shishupal and other demons like Kamsa. They all have hatred for Krishna and great fear of Krishna. But at the same time, they could not stop thinking about him. We see the description of Kamsa while he was eating, while he was sleeping, while he was walking. Every time he was thinking of Krishna in fear and hatred. Why? Why such obsession? Because Krishna is all attractive, so beautiful. Even those who are hating him, the same with Shishupal too. He got absorbed in Krishna because of his wonderful qualities. So that's an example of a demon who doesn't like the Lord, who hates them, who hates Krishna. So therefore, it is easy for other people to become attracted to Krishna who has these wonderful qualities. Now, the devotees also have wonderful qualities, like, because it's all coming from Krishna. They begin to develop them. But right now, somebody in our family may say, oh, you're still getting angry. What do you mean? You're doing devotion for the past 10 years. You're still getting angry. You're still not calm or peaceful. You're still not smiling. You're not still happy. What's going on? What is the devotion giving to you? I'm better as a person. See how happy I am. See how I don't get angry at all. What are you? You are doing devotion, chanting the names of Krishna, listening to Krishna Katha all the time. Still, you have not developed even a teeny tiny bit of these qualities that I have. Who's better? Am I or you? So if the devotee if a devotee is questioned like this, the answer is, dear devotees, we are still in the shower. We are trying to take a rinse and we have not yet been completely cleaned. So the process is working, but we are still not clean. And in that time, the devotee who's in the shower, if he's going to do aparadh all over the place, he's not going to be getting auspicious qualities. He's not. Obviously, he's into devotion. He may fall down also from devotion if he's going to commit aparadh left, right, center. So we have to really be careful, dear devotees. The only way you can fall down is if you do aparadh. That is the only way of fall down for a devotee. Otherwise, bhakti, it can give you only auspiciousness. It can remove you from all sufferings. Yes, this is proven fact. If somebody understands bhakti and somebody understands the devotees of the Lord are dear to the Lord and not commit any offense to them, then we are in a safe hands. So if the devotees, in the case of Pandavas and Parikshit Maharaj, they're all having naturally attractive qualities. Because it's all coming from, just like Krishna, right? It's all coming from him. That is why they are natural readers, and everybody is willing to follow these kind of people. They are very much impressed. All the praja, the ministers, everybody, they are impressed by their wonderful qualities, and they are willing to follow them. If somebody has a wonderful quality, we trust them, we have faith in them, and we want to follow them. We want to listen to them. If you see such person in your life, we want, yeah, this person is really good. I really want to follow him because he's good as a person. I can understand, I'd have faith upon him. So that is the example of Parikshit Maharaj. In his own right, he was very, very attractive because he was a great devotee of the Lord. He manifested all great qualities. Therefore, the citizens, they would always love to follow him. When we see Ramachandra as the king, the citizens were naturally following him. They were all very obedient to him. Not because simply he was powerful, to enforce law upon them. But because he was most attractive, they were all attracted to him. They understood he has great qualities. So similarly, with the great devotees, when they become leaders, they automatically get respect, they get respect from all the people all over. So that's about Parikshit Maharaj. So when he came out on his chariot, he was going to conquer the world. He was glorious. Just by seeing him, we could understand. He was a glorious. He didn't have to fight at all. He would just go there and people would say, yes, bow down to him, like that. Just the very presence, everybody understood, yes, he is the king. He is the qualified ruler of all places. Because he follows the will of the Supreme Lord. This is very important, dear devotees, because anybody who understands the will of the Lord and follows the will of the Lord, this is a great service. And Parikshit Maharaj was such a great person who always wanted to please the Lord at all points in time. And that is why he was a great ruler also. So with this, we can conclude today's session, dear devotees. I just wanted to thank you all for your patient listening. We'll have some time for question and answers if there are any. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much. Are there any questions or comments? Mataji, I had this doubt on, you mentioned about Devi Varnashrama and then Asuri Varnashrama.
Correct.
So Asuri Varnashrama means they still follow the Varnashrama, but minus the devotion, or is it to be understood like that?
Yeah. So I think I should explain this point a little bit more, Prabhuji, because this is very important to understand why Devi Varnashrama is important and what is the consequence or what's happening. Because this is a very good point that you brought up, because and it's very, very relevant in today's society also. So I want to take a moment to kind of explain this, if you don't mind, Prabhuji.
Yes, sure.
May just go up to 3 or 4 minutes. Hope you don't mind. I will try to explain. I think the reasons for why I say Devi Varnashrama is important and how it is broken in today's society, and the consequence of what about that. I mean, what we should do to overcome that. So this is what I want to discuss about. So, as I told you, the first one is Devi Varnashrama, which means having Krishna in the center. So, having Krishna in the center and performing the activities depending upon your nature. Like somebody who's inclined to fight will be a Kshatriya. Somebody who's inclined to, be a merchant will be a merchant. Depending upon their qualities, they will work. But ultimately, how they are working is, they are set up in such a way that they are having an environment of their own. If you go back to my town, there used to be a set of devotees. The devotees were all staying together. It used to be called it used to be called Agraharam. Agraharam is a place, where in our town there used to be a set of people who used to stay just near the temple and perform their activities. Usually they are brahmanas, and they would just do some priestly duties and keep their livelihood going that way. So these devotees, the importance of having the devotees come together and work in a setup where they have Krishna in the center is to facilitate the process of pure devotion, right? I mean, if the devotees, imagine if you're all going to stay near the temple and if you're all surrounded by devotees, then the ultimate conclusion, the ultimate thing that would happen to you is that you would be engaged in some form of devotion one way or the other all the time. After work, you're going to meet. After lunch, you're going to meet, discuss Krishna Katha, something, because you're surrounded by devotees. This will ultimately happen. This will nourish pure devotion. And since we are all aspiring, all the devotees who are aspiring to become a pure devotee, they come to a place and they do their they do their work according to the inclinations or the nature that they have, right? They all come together. It could be, and the main thing is that, if you look at Devi Varnashrama, Srila Prabhupada said there is 4 stages. One is Sankirtan movement, another is temple entry movement, initiation movement, and cluster society movement, which is nothing but Devi Varnashrama communities, right? So this is what Srila Prabhupada said. And what it means is that, the goal of Devi Varnashrama community is each, different devotees, they will take different responsibilities for different duties. It could be farming, cow protection, Ayurveda, Gurukul teaching, pottery, weaving. So they have to simplify their lifestyle so that they have enough time to hear and chant and get the opportunity of association of devotees all the time. So this was the setup that used to exist. In Srila Prabhupada's Room Conversations 1972 to 1977, he talks about the importance of having simple lifestyle. How simple lifestyle is very, very important. But now, if you look in today's world, how people are in the modes of passion and ignorance, and some way or the other, their consciousness is affected by going to work, because people are obviously interacting with materialistic people. They also want to become greedy. They also want to earn more. They also want to work hard, and they don't have enough time for devotion. So ultimately, some way or the other, we are being influenced by the mode of passion and ignorance. And in this way, our consciousness is affected at a certain level. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada recommend you all devotees come together, work in a setup which is conducive for all of you. Have Krishna in the center. Do your work that interests you. That's perfectly fine. And try to disconnect from the other society, which is ruled by materialistic people. So this way you have your own society. So every if every temple is connected to several Daivi Varnashrama communities, then there will be so much collaboration that can happen. And ultimately, what we are trying to do is that we are trying to reduce passion and ignorance by having a very good ambience to work. And by this, what we are doing is we are also facilitating pure devotion. Why? Because we are staying in the association of devotees and doing a job which is obviously less of passion and ignorance. And this way, our mind is peaceful. Only when the mind is peaceful, you can hear Krishna Katha, right? Otherwise, so many thoughts will be going on. Oh, my boss told me to do this, do that, checkbox, checkbox, checkbox. So many things you have in your mind. How you'll be able to understand Krishna? You will not be able to understand Krishna. So what is being taught is, when we plant a seed, the job is not done yet. Now the seeds need to be watered and the seedling has to come. And this way, a fruit will occur someday or the other. Similarly, Krishna consciousness also, if you get initiation, that is not the end. Now the devotee has to be in a favorable environment for his bhakti to grow till it becomes prema bhakti. So that prema bhakti is the fruit. Till then, we have to be in an ambience which is suitable for us in order to facilitate this pure devotion. But currently, it is not the case. So that is why Daivi Varnashrama is very, very important. And when we have a ruler who is able to instigate this point that, yes, Krishna should be in the center and everything else should be done to please Krishna. If you're doing work, Karmarpanam should be done. Yes, through my body, mind, and words, I offer this to Krishna. So every time, even though, so that offering, it becomes bhakti. So this karma, that you have been doing, because you offer it, it becomes Arupsiddha Bhakti, like that. So when we are trying to inculcate this message to the world, then everybody will enter into the platform of pure devotion some way or the other, because they are in the association of devotees. I know this was a long message, but I wanted to convey this point because obviously you may ask whether this is practical or not. It all depends upon the will of that person. If he's having that will and determination to be not after money and not be greedy, but want to be situated in an ambience where there is only peace, then he may opt for it. There are so many people who are working to implement this Daivi Varnashrama. And I'm personally very much in support of this initiative because this sort of ambience obviously can motivate one another to become good devotees. Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. Does it, like I was thinking when you were explaining this Daivi Varnashrama, does it
Yeah.
mean that we have to imbibe the mood of what Rupa Goswami said as Anukulasya Sankalpam Pratikulena Varjitam? Is that the
Yes,
whole
yes.
meaning of
Ultimately, yes, Prabhuji. Ultimately, the point is we all have to increase our trust and surrender to Krishna, completely surrender to Krishna. We may not be there, like we may have 50% or 25% or 15% surrenderance. So the day when it becomes 100% surrenderance, that time we have complete faith on Krishna that he is the maintainer. So right now what we are thinking, I'm doing karma. So this karma, because of karma, I'm able to practice bhakti, right? That is the mentality we have now. I'm doing my work, and because of working, I'm getting some money from my employer, and because of this, I'm being maintained. So what we are trying to do, we are having karma, faith on karma. So the Anya Abhilashita principle talks about the fact that so Anya Abhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavratam. Jnana Karmadi Anavratam. You don't trust or have faith on karma and jnana. So that is the time you enter into pure devotion. You have complete trust. Yes, Krishna is my maintainer. He is my protector. I really don't, if I have to beg, really, he will give me food. We can put it that way. This is the mode. See, we are not there yet, but we have to understand where we need to go, isn't it? So that is why I'm talking about pure devotion. Pure devotion is where we need to go to get prema bhakti. So this is where we need to go. We cannot, unless we remember Krishna continuously all the time, we cannot enter into the platform of pure devotion. Initiation is one thing, but getting into platform of pure devotion is totally different thing. And to get into the platform of pure devotion, we need to be in the association of devotees. That is why Devi Varnashrama is very important. It facilitates and it provides a platform where you are surrounded by people who are like-minded and who are not after these materialistic goals. How is success defined to them? Success is defined how much you please Krishna. Success is not defined according to how much money I earn. Success is not defined according to how much promotions I get. No, that is not what the definition of success is. But when you're surrounded by materialistic people, success is like, oh, did I become a manager? Did I become a director? Did I become a, next level? Whatever that is the goal for, if you're, that is what success is all about in this materialistic world. So we need to understand, in order to do pure devotion, as you said, Prabhuji, it is surrender means anukulyasa sankalpa, pratikulyasa varjanam, and the 4 more limbs of Sharanagati that we need to follow and imbibe through. At the time when we get all of them understood, first of all, we have to understand each of these terms, what it means, and follow through it vigilantly. Then practice it. After that, we will be under the control of Krishna, and there is no more looking back after that.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
I've taken much time in questions. Are there any other questions or comments? Hare Krishna.
Amazing class, Mataji, as usual.
you always inspire.
Can't wait, Mataji.
You are so today I think I happened to send you the link even before you asked me. So thank you, Mataji, for very promptly encouraging me, and I really appreciate your guidance, and I really appreciate you're like my mom. So thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I think we have exhausted the time, and if there are no other questions, can I request Prasanna Prabhu to end the session? Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji, for your great class. As Mataji says, it's always inspiring, and you give us such wise words. We get to know about Maharaj Parikshit, such a pure devotee of the Lord, and the intricacies and interactions between him and the age of Kali. So thanks a lot, Mataji. As we continue, maybe we can try to check the 4 principles and improve on our bhakti by your inspiration, by your mercy. So thanks so much for the class. Thanks for giving your valuable time. Thanks for the devotees, to the devotees as well for assembling over and giving me association for such excellent soul. So to encourage Mataji and to glorify Mataji, I request all the devotees, please, let's unmute and chant the Hare Krishna mantra.
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare
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 Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च
कृपतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सन्तुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो
नमो
नमः।
नमः।
Grace Radhika Kasturi Mataji ki.
जय
All glories to the
Jai
assembled
Mataji.
devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada
Thank you,
ki
devotees.
jai.
Srila
Hare
Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank
I
you. Hare Krishna.
discovered Radhika means soft-hearted Radharani. It's a wonderful name, Mataji. Our
Hare Krishna.
soft-hearted mother, Radharani. So, Haribol. It's wonderful. Thank you, Mataji.
I am servant of all of you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for attending. I'm ending the session. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Hare Krishna.